We're going to go over a cold call approach. And of course, this is the second thing that you're going to do as you're entering the field. Was after your prospect, you're going to be walking into a building. And at that point, you're going to be doing your cold call and pitch. Of course, we hire tenured salespeople, so we don't like to have a canned or scripted pitch. It makes it seem unoriginal, and it's kind of more of an elementary sales level to have a scripted pitch. So we like to just give you a basic 3-step outline to kind of stay within. And then I'm going to expand on a little bit as far as overcoming some objections after we hit this third plank of the cold calling approach. But essentially, as you're walking in, the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to be doing your warm-up, okay? Now, the warm-up consists of essentially connecting with your client or connecting with the guardian or the gatekeeper, as we call them. So as you walk in, you have a secretary or whoever up front, a receptionist. Those people are designed to not only answer the phones, but be the face of the company and also be the guardian of the ownership or management to where they don't get disturbed and they can continue the workflow of their day. So by you coming in and asking to talk to these people without a set appointment poses a problem. So there's a lot of art in the fact that we have to come in and convince this person up front to allow us to go around her, even though her job description is basically keep salesmen and people like that out of my hair. So we're going to start with the warm-up. And so it's very important that as you enter the building, you start looking for things that you can stir up a conversation with this receptionist. Look for things in the outside of the building, look for a car in the parking lot, look for hedges, maybe some evidence of their industry in the back. So when you walk in, you say, hey, what are these things out back that you're manufacturing, whatever the case would be. Since we are industrial roofers, we're going to be hitting up a lot of manufacturing and distribution and stuff like that. So a lot of their, what they do as a company is manifested on their yard, what they have in the yard and stuff like that. Because typically we deal with people on some acreage. So as you're walking in, keep your eyes peeled about that. Don't just have tunnel vision and going in just looking at the front door and walking in and say, okay, make sure you say your name and what company you're with. We don't want to lead with that. We want to walk in and be very personal with this receptionist or this gatekeeper, so to speak. So as we walk in, the first thing that we're going to talk about is anything that we can connect with that receptionist or whatnot. We're going to be saying, hey, talk about the weather. Hey, make a joke about something outside. Be inquisitive about their business. Be inquisitive about what you saw in the parking lot. Hey, whose vehicle is that out front? And use it as a common ground to stir up an average conversation to get to know that lady. I always like to use jokes. You use a joke, make them laugh. The old adage, if they're buying or if they're laughing, they're buying. So make them laugh if you can. Throw in a joke. I really like that as my warm-up. And so if you get the secretary or the receptionist or whoever to like you, your odds of going past her and getting to the owner dramatically increase. And so you have a very small window of making that happen. Now, unlike residential where you literally have like 10 to 15 seconds, you could have like a minute, maybe up to 2 minutes to be able to get that person to like you, okay? So it's very important that when you go in, you get that person to like you. And they're not going to like you because you say your name and what company you're with. That doesn't get anybody to like you. What gets them to like you is for you to make conversation, average conversation, and then add in a joke, add in something and ask them about maybe their business. And then she'll say, oh, wow, well, yeah, what we do here. And they'll go on and on about their own company that they work for because they're proud of working for their company. They want to tell you about it. They're like, oh, yeah, here's what we do here. We're really good at this and we're really good at that. You know what I mean? So capitalize that, utilize that to your advantage, throw in a couple of jokes, get them to laugh. And then we're going to roll into the statement of purpose. Because at least if they come in, if you come in and you get up laughing and joking a little bit, then they're not going to be so eager to say, hey, what are you doing here and get out of here. They're going to be more like, oh, cool, so what do you do? You know what I mean? That's what a normal conversation would be like if you were just out on the street not trying to go in and sell somebody. They would say, well, here's what I do for a living. What do you do for a living? And then they're going to be inquisitive on you. You just were inquisitive about their industry or their job. Now they're going to be inquisitive about your job. So kind of make it about like that. The second thing that we're going to do when we walk in is going to be statement of purpose. Statement of purpose, you're just telling them what you're there to do. Okay, enough about the weather. Here's what I'm here to do. Um, what we do is we do commercial roofing. Okay, we're a commercial roofer that specializes in hail damage. We actually only deal with customers that have sustained storm damage. We don't do any bid work. So what we try to do is get into contact with customers that have had hail or wind damage in the past. And so what we like to do is approach them and see if they have any sustained storm damage in their building. And the reason I'm stopping by is, and that's going to parlay you into the next plank, which is the name drop. Name dropping allows you to establish legitimacy. So remember, you walk in off the street, you're a stranger. You're a complete stranger. So by doing the warm-up, we're getting them to like you. Okay, now they start to like you, okay? Now they're like, okay, I like you. Now what do you do? Why are you here? You give the statement of purpose. Here's why I'm here. This is what I do. I'm not coming in to rob your business. I'm not coming in as a competitor to steal ideas. I'm literally just a roofing salesman, okay? Statement of purpose. Then the last thing is okay, now we know who you are. I like you, but how do I know you're legitimate? How do I know that you're not going to come in and still swindle us? Give me some legitimacy. How can you be legitimate? And that's where the name drop comes in. It immediately establishes legitimacy. So when you name drop and you give a neighbor or somebody of proximity or maybe a like industry name drop of somebody that we've either worked with or we're currently working with or we've recently inspected their building, then they'll be like, oh yeah, okay, so you did do, or oh, you are talking to the neighbor. Yeah, we know the neighbor. Yeah, we know this industry. We know this business down the street. And so now she likes you. She knows what you're here to do. They may even have some roofing issues. And now you're a legitimate, vendor or a legitimate company. And so now you have the greatest chance of getting by her. So all you can hope for at that point is maybe be able to get to the owner at that given moment, maybe get a roof inspection out of it at that given moment, or finally, they may actually give you the contact information for the owner to get that appointment or that inspection, okay? So one of those three things is going to happen, but these things have to come in the exact succession. You have to have the warm-up first. The statement of purpose needs to completely flow from the warm-up, and then from there, you're going to use the name dropping to establish that legitimacy to where they will continue to either give you information or allow you to talk to the owner, okay? Now, if you're in the field and you have some hangups, you're not able to use this and gain any kind of success, you're getting a lot of no's, okay? Those no's are going to come from like objections. They're always going to give you the same objection. So don't wait for that objection to come and then try to field it, okay? We're going to start building it into the body of our pitch. And it's going to go something like this. Hey, the reason I stopped by is I'm Sean. I'm with 4-Star General Contracting. What we do is only storm and hail restoration work. So if your building hasn't been hit by hail or wind, we typically don't deal with it. We don't do any kind of repair work or anything like that. We don't chase leaks. We essentially look at the building from an insurance perspective and see if it qualifies for an insurance claim. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with ABC Company. They're about 3 blocks from here. Are you familiar with Jim down at ABC Company? Oh, you are? Well, fantastic. I figured you would. Well, the reason I want to tell you about Jim is he had us come out and take a look at his building. Now, this is where we're going to start inserting the objections, okay? Because remember, the best time to overcome objections is before it comes up. We don't want to field objections. We want to lay them out there and build them into the body of our pitch. That way, it never becomes a point of contention with you and the client, okay? So you're going to say, well, the reason Jim had me come out is he didn't have any leaks and he didn't think he had any storm damage, but he wanted me to at least take a look at the roof and see what the condition is. And when I got up there, I found enough storm damage to get the insurance company involved to pay him for a brand new roof system. And so now we're in the process of getting him and his insurance company together to get him a new roof. So I figured, hey, I'd stop by and talk to you as well. Now, the funny story is Jim had actually had his roof looked at by another roofer. And they said they didn't find anything. So, sometimes you look at these roofs through different lenses, through different optics, and some people find things different than others. We specialize in nothing but commercial, so sometimes we can see things a little bit differently than a roofer that works on mainly residential structures. So that's going to allow you to overcome some of those main objections, which is we don't have any leaks, we don't have any damage, we've already had a roofer look at it. Those are going to be the top 3. So when we build those into the body of our pitch, it never becomes a point of contention with the client, and it doesn't become an arguing point where we're having to debate back and forth as to why they don't have leaks or why they have already had their roof inspected and why I'm here to give it a second opinion. We don't need to get into that argument. When we build it into our pitch, oftentimes we get a lot more and a lot higher success rate. So use these 3 steps and then build in those objections as you hear them in the field into the body of the pitch. Build them, manifest them out, bring them out, actually offer them up yourself. Because then when they offer it up, it's not a point of debate, okay, which ends up becoming an argumentative situation. We don't want to do that, especially when we're cold calling, okay, and you're walking in off the street as just a stranger and you're trying to establish a relationship. The last thing you want to do when establishing a relationship with a client is get into an argument.